Greetings once again, Retreat Church. When Mary received the news that she was going to be used by God to bring the Son of God into the world, that she was going to be used by God to fulfill all of God's long-awaited promises to Israel and all of humanity, she was filled with more uncertainty and questions than she had answers. And as she experienced these questions and these doubts and these uncertainties and even the impossibility of it, right? And even the idea of a virgin birth sounds crazy to us, but can you imagine how crazy it must have sounded to Mary and how puzzling this must have been to her life? Well, what she did in that moment is something that you and I all need to do. And she went ahead and asked her questions. She said, how can this be, right? And I know that a lot of times God is moving in your life, moving in my life, and we want to ask that same question. How can this be? And then we present to God as if he didn't know this impossible situation or all the criteria for why what he wants to do in our lives is just impossible. Well, finally, at the component of that, when she finally surrendered to what she was hearing from God, is that she just said, I'm the Lord's servant. And I think that's where kind of this ability to explode in joy as what takes place in Luke chapter 1, I think that's where that starts. And if you and I are going to enjoy the joy of Christmas, if we're going to experience this joy that comes with the presence of God, sooner or later we're going to have to bring all of our doubts and all of our questions and all of our concerns, we're going to bring those directly to God and be open about them. But then we're going to have to surrender to his lordship and realize that if we're going to live as Christian people in the midst of this uncertain world, then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to finally surrender and say, I am the servant of the Lord. But as she began to surrender, then the Lord did something else amazing for Mary that I think God wants to do for all of us. And that is, Mary went and visited Elizabeth, who was pregnant with the person that we know as John the Baptist. And so God had done an amazing work already in Elizabeth and in her husband Zechariah. And Mary went and visited Elizabeth, and Elizabeth provides Mary with confirmation that what she had heard from God is actually true, and that what God is actually doing in her life is actually real. And then once Mary receives that confirmation from another human being, and I know you want to say, well, all I need is Jesus, and all I need is the Bible, and all I need is, well, whatever statement starts with all I need is, we're usually probably lying to ourselves. And God understands that. So God brought Mary to visit Elizabeth, and Elizabeth brought confirmation from another human to Mary, and then Mary explodes in joy. Read the story in Luke chapter 1. It's an amazing story of a woman surrendered to the power and authority of God. It's an amazing story of human confirmation and human connection that we all need. And it's an amazing story of this outpouring of joy in the middle of uncertain times. And I'm praying this year that God would do that same work for us, that God would do the impossible in each one of our lives, and God would bring you to a place where he's telling you wonderful and amazing things that may seem impossible for you, that God is going to bring you freedom from things that have long captivated your life, that God is going to restore relationships and restore health and restore these things to you in your life this year. And I pray that he brings in some human beings into your life in order to help you walk through this difficult season. And then I'm praying that just as a little child opens the gift on Christmas morning that he longed for, that he wanted, that he begged for, that he sat on, this person's lap in the mall called Santa Claus, and he asked and he hoped, and he went to bed on Christmas Eve thinking, I'm going to get up in the morning and really get my gift. And then once that child opens that gift and experiences that wonderful joy, and you catch that joy on your cameras, and that joyful expression on that child's face means more to you than any money that you could have spent or any effort that you would have expended in getting that gift for your child. I pray that that kind of joy is instilled within your heart today, even though we live in uncertain times, even though we're in need of human confirmation, even though sometimes God feels a little bit distant, I'm praying that this Christmas season, you experience that same joy that Mary experienced and is available to each one of us as we surrender to the Lordship of Jesus Christ and become his children by faith. God bless you this Christmas, and I pray that your joy is strong.